Every video game developer goes through 3 distinct stages of development. Stage 1. Stage 2. Stage 3.
Hey everyone, I'm Andrew from Digital Rush, and we're stoked to have you here for a sneak peek of our game. It's called Mission Barnard, falling into the third-person shooter / tower defense category. Our team is a size of 5 developers who, aside from one of us, have had no real prior experience with Unity before Mission Barnard. Now let's dive into what was a good inspiration for Mission Barnard. The biggest inspiration for us when it came to our game was the game Orcs Must Die. This game, with its strategic tower defense gameplay, left a sizable mark on us. As we embarked on crafting Mission Barnard, we couldn't help but draw from the dynamic and engaging elements of Orcs Must Die. The fast-paced warfare, the evolving maps, all of it really inspired our journey. In our exploration of tower defense games, we noticed a common theme, which is that many are sticking to the 2D format. While they offer solid strategy, the gameplay can feel a bit predictable, relying heavily on towers to do the heavy lifting. So here's our twist in Mission Barnard. We're bringing in a third-person shooter element so that players are right in the thick of the action. In Mission Barnard's gameplay, meticulous attention to detail defines it pretty well. We've elevated the visual elements through intricate lighting and sound effects, ensuring a gaming experience that distinguishes itself. This is not your conventional tower defense. It encompasses strategy, action, and is visually quite pleasing. In the vastness of space, our story unfolds. Sensors detect a powerful energy source on planet Barnard called moissanite. Our character is sent to retrieve it, but upon arrival, unexpected foes emerge. These aliens see us simply as intruders, fiercely protecting their home. Cut off from communication, survival becomes our top priority. Relentless enemies threaten our spaceship, the key to returning home. Our mission transforms into a desperate battle for survival, defending our only means of escape. Every moment on Barnard tests courage and resilience. This is a tale of survival and determination. The journey home hangs in the balance as we navigate the challenges of this alien world that we are not familiar with. Mission Barnard's artistic style is a blend of different themes. While it's rooted in sci-fi, we've added a touch of cartoonish charm, creating a unique and captivating world. This is achieved by consistently using low-poly assets, even in the map design. Our color palette revolves around shades of purple, blue, and red, creating a visually engaging experience. Lighting is a key player in shaping the game's aesthetic. Take our muzzle flash, for example. It's not just a visual effect, but a deliberate use of lighting to enhance the overall picture. Furthermore, our user interface draws inspiration from indie games, resulting in an event-driven design. Sound effects and special effects work together seamlessly, offering players an immersive and interactive experience. This intentional mix of artistic elements ensures that Mission Barnard isn't just a sci-fi game. It's a visually rich journey into a charming and distinctive universe. Moissanite, which is retrieved in our game by killing enemies, is a currency to the player where with the currency they have, they can choose to place a new turret or upgrade their existing ones. When upgrading turrets, players have the option to enhance the range of turrets, their damage, and their fire rate. Additionally, an upgrade they can make is that bullets can slow down enemies for a certain amount of time, which helps in situations where there are swarms of enemies headed toward the spaceship. Furthermore, With the choice of 2 characters in our game, they can choose to play levels as either a fighter or a shooter with their varying abilities. The shooter has an automatic weapon which is powerful and has great range, but compared to the fighter, he is slower, can't jump as high, and doesn't have as much health as the fighter. The fighter also produces more overall damage with his axe, but his disadvantage is that he has very little range. So all in all, while Mission Barnard is a third-person shooter and there is some amount of skill which goes into fighting off swarms of enemies, players have to strategically use Moissanite to their advantage. Now enemies come in swarms from holes in the canyon walls and find themselves on an elevated path toward our spaceship surrounded by lava. There's one path for the enemies to take so that the player does not have to move around from place to place to find enemies, and players have a good field of view for the incoming enemies. We plan for Mission Barnard to have between 3 to 4 levels, including a tutorial level. Our tutorial level will get the player used to the game mechanics and incorporate voice cues to tell the player all the information they need to know. From there, our other levels will build on themselves in the number of enemies there are, and their difficulties will increase as the levels go on. There will also be boss enemies which come out at the end of each level. These bosses are quite slow, but they have a lot of health and deal a lot of damage to the spaceship. Embarking on the game development journey, our team encountered several technical challenges. The 2 biggest are the following. Our biggest technical challenge was getting used to Unity and exploring its limits. When we first started this project, we had no idea of what we were capable, and frankly still don't. It was challenging to design a game which for our skill set was possible. While we've mostly achieved this, we have had to dial down many of our ideas as incorporating them would have been a nightmare. The second biggest challenge was third-person shooter implementation. This was much more challenging than we had originally thought, especially when it came to the amount of final polish that we wanted to have. Especially challenging were the animations, where we learned a lot about animation blending and finite states. Going back to design choices, if we had made this game a first-person shooter, we would not have had as much difficulty, but where we chose a third-person shooter, it made it incredibly difficult. On top of this, with 2 characters in our game, we had to go through this process twice, which was a painstaking task. Our team faced a management challenge related to the absence of a clear definition of done. We often found ourselves settling for good enough, which later proved to be a hindrance, as Mission Barnard's emphasis on attention to detail required revisiting prior work for improvements. Notably, the initial lack of a defined endpoint led to unforeseen challenges, reinforcing the importance of establishing a clear criteria for project completion. Another hurdle was the time management aspect, exacerbated by our team's lack of prior game development experience. The complexity of tasks became apparent as we delved into the project. For instance, our assumption that the third-person shooter component would be a quick task turned out to be a huge mixed calculation, leading to weeks of effort and multiple iterations before achieving the desired outcome. In hindsight, these experiences underscore the significance of robust project management practices and a realistic understanding of the intricacies involved in game development. Going forward, we've implemented measures to address these challenges and ensure a smoother development process. Now onto our demo, where we're going to show you where Mission Barnard currently is. Mission Barnard holds immense potential for growth. In the future, Mission Barnard could potentially be introduced to more maps, characters, weapons, abilities, towers, and levels. Our immediate focus, however, is on refining existing components and optimizing gameplay. We're also dedicated to adding new levels, providing an ongoing, engaging experience for players. In essence, Mission Barnard's future involves strategic expansion and continuous improvement. This has been Team Digital Rush. Thank you for watching.